Hello and welcome back to another video here on the channel. In today's video we are going to be taking a look at the Buzzy Bees update. This is the update for Minecraft Java Edition 1.15 and it is now in your launchers. 1.15 is out there for us all to play with. In today's video we are going to be taking a look at some of the features in this new 1.15 update. To allow the viewing for you a lot easier, I have split up this video into different sections. The timestamps can be found on the screen to find out about the different new things we have in this update. There's a lot to check out, so let's jump straight into things. The bee, which will naturally spawn with bee nests, can be found spawning in birch trees and oak trees. Bees will naturally go into a beehive when it is raining or at night. If you are silly enough to attack a bee, all the bees from the same group will turn angry, and then we will see this new attacking animation where the bees will come down, they will turn around and use their stinger upon you. As we can see, the textures on the bees all change to have a red eye. Each bee which attacks you will give you 10 seconds of poison. This is only one way of making the bees angry. After bees have attacked you, they will lose their stinger. As we can see on this bee, he has no stinger. And after about a minute, they will die after losing their stinger. If you are killed by a bee, you will receive the following death message: player was stung to death. Holding a flower will result in bees hovering around you, and you can use any type of flower to breed bees. This includes the wither rose. However, the wither rose will not affect the bee. Bees will hover around flowers. As we can see here, there is a big army of bees hovering around these flowers. They will eventually reach the pollinated state. This pollinated state will result in a change in the texture. Once the bee has this pollinated texture, it will head back to its hive, and then it will offload this pollen into the hive, which will result in an increase in the honey level. A pollinated bee has the chance of increasing the growth rate of different farmable objects, including wheat seeds and berry bushes over here. As we can see just there, we had a bee drop off some of its pollen. This effectively applied a bone meal effect to that seed. When a bee nest has this texture on it, with the honey pots filled and with this sticky honey drops dropping from down below, this is when the bee's nest can be harvested. Now, to harvest this, the safest way is to put a campfire underneath. This will make the bees passive when you harvest it. You can then use shears and right click on the hive, and as we can see, honeycomb will then get dropped out of the hive. As you can see, this drop is between 3 and 4. If we were to have harvested this beehive without the campfire underneath, all the bees from the hive would become angry, as we just saw. Alongside collecting honeycomb from bee nests and hives, you can also collect bottles of honey by right-clicking with a glass bottle. Bee nests, which are found naturally spawning, cannot be crafted, but bee hives can be crafted using the following recipe. The planks can be used but with any type of plank. The beehive functions with the same properties as the bee nest, but this one is not found naturally spawning and can only be crafted. Also using the honeycomb item, the new block, the honeycomb block, can be crafted. This honeycomb block has no actual properties and is only a decorative block. The honey bottle, when drunk, will heal 6 hunger points or 3 of the little chicken bars. The honey bottle can be crafted into 3 sugar using the following recipe. Or the honey bottles, using 4 honey bottles, you can craft the honey block. The honey block has multiple different properties, which we are going to take a look at right now. Firstly, the honey block is not able to stick to slime blocks, which means things like this is possible. On the honey block, you are unable to jump up very high at all. You stick to the block very close. This means that if blocks are next to the honey block, you are unable to jump on top of them. The maximum height you can jump off a honey block is a half slab. Alongside sticking to the top of honey blocks, you easily stick to the side of honey blocks. As we can see, we are sticking to the side of the honey blocks, which lowers us down very, very slowly. Dispensers have gained a new functionality, meaning if you have glass bottles inside a dispenser with a full hive full of honey or a nest full of honey, activating the dispenser will fill the bottle of honey. On the contrary, using shears inside of dispensers when activated will harvest it as honeycomb. Baby mobs now have a chance of spawning in naturally with passive animals. This includes pigs, cows, sheep and chickens. All of the following mobs, when right-clicked on with a spawn egg, will now spawn in the baby variant of that mob. An iron golem's health can now be easily repaired, as we can see if we look at this. So the golem's health is up in the boss bar. If we start dealing damage to this golem, we will see that the golem eventually becomes cracked. This happens at 25%, and then at the 50% we will see that it gains a new texture. Following then at 25% it will gain another texture. This can then be healed up using the iron ingot. If we right click on the golem just here, you will see that we are repairing up its health just like that. 5 new game rules have been added, the first being game rule do insomnia. This is generally set to true, but if set to false, this will deny phantom spawning at night. The next new game rule has been game rule do immediate respawn. If we set this to true, by default it is set to false, and then we go into game mode survival just like this, we will see that upon death we will instantly respawn and the death screen will not show. The next game rule is game rule drowning damage. If we set this to false, we will see that we are underwater, we have 0 oxygen bubbles, but we are no longer taking any drowning damage. The next new game rule is / game rule full damage. If we set this to false, you can guess what has happened. If we head into game mode survival, you will see that we will hit the floor without taking any full damage. And lastly, the last game rule that has been added is game rule fire damage. Again, pretty self-explanatory. If we set this to false and then head into these burning flames, we will see that we take no fire damage whatsoever. A change has been made to rails, meaning they will now be placed in the direction you are facing. This applies to all 4 types of rails. As we can see, placing these down is only placing them down in the exact way of the position of the player. Wet sponges placed down in the nether will instantly turn into dry sponges. As we can see, a little particle animation is played on the top. 3 new advancements have been added into the game, all of them relating to the bee and honey. If we take a look at the first one, sliding down a honey block will give you the advancement Sticky Situation. The second advancement added is for collecting honey with a campfire underneath the bee's nest or beehive. This advancement is called Be Our Guest. The next advancement is for collecting a bee's nest just like this, using this with 3 bees inside of it and moving it to a new location. This advancement is called Total Bee Location. 2 new quality of life changes have been made to the game. In creative mode, you can now eat all kinds of food sources, whether good or bad. As we can see, if we eat a poisonous potato here, we might still get the poison effect. Another quality of life change is right-clicking on a bed with a villager in will eject the villager from the bed, meaning you can go to sleep. Changes have been made to the way explosions render, and what we should see is if I can aim, we will see that when this explodes, there will be a significant less amount of lag. As we can see, very little lag and frame drops just there. TNT has had a major overhaul in the way it performs in the game. This also links in with the rendering engine being completely updated, meaning things might look slightly different, but this new rendering engine means a lot more is capable and possible with Minecraft. This update has also come with over 300 different bug fixes, so that's why I haven't covered every single one, but performance has again also been greatly increased across the game, including performances on chunk rendering and other bug fixes. New accessibility settings have now been added, meaning buttons are now highlighted in a different colour. Heading to the accessibility settings page, there is also the option for sneak to be toggled between toggle and hold, and sprint to be toggled between toggle and hold. Changing these means if I press shift, I can let go and I'm still holding shift. The same applies for sprint. If I press sprint just like that, I'm instantly sprinting when I press walk forward, and pressing sprint again will stop me sprinting. As I have already mentioned, there have been over 100 bug fixes in this update, which means I've been unable to even scrape the surface on some of today's changes. The Minecraft 1.15 Buzzy Bees update is out and about, so make sure to go and download that off of your launchers. 1.15 content will be coming out of this channel very, very soon, so make sure you're subscribed. If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, it really does help out the channel a lot, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.